In this video, I'm going to be giving you one trade target for every NBA team at this year's trade deadline. And yes, some are realistic, some aren't, but I tried to be as realistic as possible. But there are a lot of teams that can't trade. And 6 of those teams are on the screen right now around me. I mean, if your team's on the screen right now, good luck at this year's trade deadline. My team is the Suns, and they're on this. We're screwed. We are screwed. But anyways, this is meant to be fun. This is my thought process, what every team needs. Some teams have a good fit that they need to get. Others, you got to think more outside the box. So let's get right into this video. We're going in alphabetical order, and that means we have the Atlanta Hawks first. My ideal target for them is Jalen McDaniels, the older brother of Jaden McDaniels. He's a great defensive wing that is very much needed in Atlanta. So Boston Celtics ain't got no assets, no money, so they have to get a cheap veteran wing, and that is why I think Otto Porter Jr. is the most realistic target for them. The Brooklyn Nets have been very down bad all year, so why not get D'Angelo Russell? He was at his peak when he played in Brooklyn, so hey, you might want to just mess around and find out because you're not winning very many games anyways. But realistically for the Nets, I think they need to be big-time sellers, and I don't know what they should acquire. So I had no idea for the Nets, if you couldn't tell. The Charlotte Hornets, I think, could ideally go after Andrew Wiggins. I believe this will probably be Miles Bridges' last year on this team, and they do have a good 3 players of LaMelo Ball, Mark Williams, and Brandon Miller moving forward, and I think if you plug Andrew Wiggins in there, it could be a pretty dangerous team moving forward. And just like I think the Hornets should target a Golden State Warrior, I think the Bulls should do the same thing. And I think the Bulls should go after Jonathan Kuminga because realistically, a duo of Jonathan Kuminga and Kobe White going forward could be really, really good. The Cleveland Cavaliers have not been healthy at all this year. And when it comes down to it, they are not a great defensive team on the perimeter when they are fully healthy because Mitchell and Garland cannot play the greatest defense out there. So I think they should realistically target a player like DeAndre Hunter, who is a good defensive wing, has shooting upside, and should be available as the Hawks are sellers. For the Dallas Mavericks, I have Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen's been amazing this year, especially without Evan Mobley being in the lineup. If the Cavaliers are smart, they should know it's time to move on from the 2 7-footers because ideally it's not the way moving forward, if you ask me. So if I'm the Mavericks, I get Jarrett Allen. He's been increasing his playmaking. He's been putting up 20 in 20 games, 20-15 games. You put him in the starting lineup with Luka and Kyrie, especially considering the fact that Jarrett Allen is a very good interior defender. Oh yeah, the Mavericks are legitimate contenders. Right now, they're hovering. They're probably a good elite team right now, but if you get a Jarrett Allen, oh god, they are contenders and very, very dangerous in the Western Conference. The Denver Nuggets financially have no ability to trade, so they need a cheap option, and a cheap player that I like is Ish Wainwright of the Portland Trail Blazers. The Detroit Pistons are horrendous, so I recommend just taking a chance on Jalen Green because obviously he needs a lot of work, and obviously y'all need a lot of work. So you might as well see what a backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green could possibly look like. I mean, you don't play Jaden Ivey anyways, so it's not like he's going to be losing more minutes than he doesn't get already. For the Golden State Warriors, I have one of my favorite targets. I don't know how realistic it is, but Kyle Kuzma. He has 4 years of control, 3.5, but that's opposite of Siakam. Siakam only has 1 year, so obviously, Siakam is probably the better player. Well, that's not even a question. Siakam is the better player. But Kyle Kuzma could fit in nicely. He can play off the ball. But what Curry desperately needs is someone that can score the ball. Kyle Kuzma's averaging 23 points a game right now. Yeah, and the asking price is 2 young players and 2 picks. You got 2 young players. You got Kuminga and Moody, and you got 2 picks. Let's get it done, Golden State. Obviously, this is more of a fantasy type of target, but yeah. Kyle Kuzma to the Warriors, I'd love to see. If I'm the Houston Rockets, I don't really have a target in mind. Just keep letting these players develop. It's going to take time. You got a good team moving forward, but I would just look to move on from Jalen Green. I think the Indiana Pacers desperately need Pascal Siakam. He could be the perfect co-star to Halliburton. He's a good 2-way player. It makes too much sense. They have the assets. They need everything about Pascal Siakam on their team. And if the Pacers were to get Siakam, 76ers, Bucks, every team in the East but the Boston Celtics, look out. The Los Angeles Clippers really don't have any trade flexibility, but Jack Landale would be nice. I don't think he's available, though. The Lakers desperately need Zach LaVine. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he tanked his trade value so much that there is no excuse for not getting a deal done. They need his shooting. They need his shot creation, since their perimeter shooting and shot creation has been horrendous. So there's no reason not to get LaVine. The only thing he doesn't help with is defense, and you already got enough defensive wings on your team. Get it done. The Memphis Grizzlies desperately need a defensive veteran wing, and that is why I think they should get Robert Covington so he can help mentor the young players and provide defense. The Miami Heat swung and missed on Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal last offseason, but honestly, Donovan Mitchell, who I think they should trade for at this deadline if he's available, is probably a better player for this Heat team because, one, he's proven in the playoffs, 2, he has a lot of dog in him, and 3, he's a lot cheaper option to get. So think about it that way. I would go for Donovan Mitchell because they desperately need him. Tyler Hero's had a great year, but when it comes down to it, I personally haven't been impressed with him, and I personally think that Donovan Mitchell will take this team from, yes, a top 4 team in the East, but to them versus Celtics as the final 2, depending on how much depth they have to trade away for Mitchell, which shouldn't be a lot. Milwaukee Bucks need a dog on defense, and Royce O'Neal is literally a dog. So get Royce O'Neal. He's a perfect fit. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, don't change a thing. You're the 1 seed. The New Orleans Pelicans need a true point guard as they tend to lose games because they can't get offensive flow down the stretch, and Tyus Jones would be a perfect player for them. He's on the Wizards, obviously a great playmaker. You get him, you look a lot better and more organized on offense down the stretch of games. The New York Knicks need Terry Rozier in my eyes. Currently averaging 24 points and 7 assists and can shoot the lights out. And yes, I know he's not very efficient, but he plays for the Hornets. There's not much around him, especially the fact that him and LaMelo have both been hurt, and so they haven't played together at all this year. But you get him to come off the bench or even start, that's a great shot maker that the Knicks desperately need. If y'all have watched a lot of content from me, you know I think Lauri Markkanen to the Thunder is easy and it's a perfect match, but if you don't like Lauri Markkanen on the Thunder, how's PJ Tucker? They need a veteran that can be a big body and can get rebounds. That's exactly what he can do for you. Before I tell you who the Orlando Magic should target, I think I need to tell you why this player before. What's the biggest problem with the Magic? It's 3-point shooting consistently. It's a true point guard. Markelle Fultz is great, but he's been hurt. Cole Anthony's a backup, and both of them only have 1 year of control left. So they'd probably lose one or both after this year. So they need a point guard that can shoot the 3 and can be a great facilitator as well as playing off the ball. Malcolm Brogdon. And Malcolm Brogdon can play defense and fits the mold on that side of the floor. You add Malcolm Brogdon to this team, and you have a lineup of Malcolm Brogdon, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero. I think they start Goga right now, but Wendell Carter Jr., obviously a better player overall. If you have Malcolm Brogdon with this team, oh my goodness, they could be a lot better than we think right now. Since obviously they're a playoff team, but they're probably a first-round exit, Malcolm Brogdon can take this team a lot farther. I think the Philadelphia 76ers should try and trade for Alex Caruso. Every contender wants him. However, the 76ers have the most assets, and they have so many dogs on their team, why not add another? The Suns need Dennis Schroeder. Impossible money-wise for them to make a good trade, but we need a point guard, and we need a better defender. He's a good on-ball defender, and he's a point guard. Come on, please do it. If we can, but obviously we have no flexibility whatsoever, and we have absolutely 0 assets. So yeah, we're not going to get it. Portland Trailblazers should just trade people with value and get quality returns. Sacramento Kings wanted to put Siakam here, but I also do believe in Keegan Murray being the 3 moving forward. So if they were to get Siakam, he would take away a lot of shots from Keegan Murray, even though Keegan Murray and him could probably play really well together since Keegan Murray is a tremendous 3-point shooter. I don't think that's the ideal move going forward. And you don't want to trade for him for a rental just to have for 1 year because he's going to cost a lot. So why not get Dorian Finney-Smith, who is a very elite defender, and that is the biggest problem on the Kings. The Spurs need to get Victor Wembanyama, a true point guard that can create, and they also do love players that can defend and are a little bit taller for that position. So why not bring the golden boy home, DeJounte Murray? Well, I think it's a really, really good fit. Personally, I think the Raptors should target Obi Toppin because I think it would, one, be very, very funny to see him quickly and Barrett all go off in Toronto, and two, I think he'd actually be a really good fit around those two, plus Scotty Barnes, who you're trying to build around. I think he could be a perfect 4 around Scotty because he can play off ball. He's a great off ball mover, and that would be very, very big. The Utah Jazz roster is a mess right now, if you ask me. So I think if you're going to trade Lauri Markkanen and you trade him to the Thunder, Josh Giddey's the most ideal target. And then for the Wizards, you just need to get a young wing and some draft picks at this year's deadline. I hope you liked the trade target that I gave your team, and if not, I'm sorry. I guess we don't agree. But let's be honest, some teams are just impossible to trade, and find a realistic target's very hard. And as you can tell, not everyone was realistic. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't get mad about it. If you want to watch my weekly NBA recap, click on the video on the screen with SGA. If you want to listen to my thoughts on Pascal Siakam and trade rumors, click on the video that has Pascal Siakam as the cover. Have a good one. Bye.